was watching the last video and we literally had the commentary, where I was saying like we need to do the Jeopardy theme. Do, 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 do. That was actually playing at the very beginning. And it looks like we are actually streaming live on Facebook. So they probably heard all of that. Welcome, everyone, for joining us here at the Insiders with Liz and Amber. We are super pumped today because we are going to be tapping into you guys out there who join us live today to share some really cool spirit insight, any kind of awarenesses that you've had when spirit was around, or if you've actually seen an apparition. We want to know. And we're going to share some of our groovy stuff too. I should mention the Insiders is brought to you by Giant TV and Very Paranormal. And so again, we welcome you and we're grateful that you're joining us. How are you doing today, Amber?
Oh, I am amazing. How are you? It's always lovely to see your beautiful, happy face.
I know. And it makes me giggle every time watch videos after, right? Like at the very beginning, there's that lag that we don't see the little thing come up on the screen saying, yeah, you're live, ladies. And here we are chatting away. And it's like, we're so blessed to have each other. I swear to God, and just seeing your face makes me happier. So,
oh, I feel the exact same way. And it makes me feel happy that, you know what else? You're somebody that understands exactly what it is like to be, really kind of ascended into that spiritual realm of communication and experiences. And so I'm just so happy that I have someone that is able to understand. And not only that, but our vibrations are very similar. So we can laugh at ourselves and, when things like technology and experiences in life go wrong, we're just like, laugh it off and share it with the cats, because Willow, my cat Willow, of course, is here today. So I can't kick her out.
I should warn everybody, I have a puppy in the house. And right now he's currently sleeping upstairs. But if he comes down and starts yelping, that's just kind of what he does. He wants to let me know that he needs to go out or he wants me or whatever. I have a puppy pad down just in case we have any accidents during the filming. But yeah, so you may hear him, or he may just be a real sweet little angel and sleep through this little moment for us. But yeah, it's nice having animals in the house again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not my dog, my grand puppy. And he's so cute.
And the animals are so connected to us. Like, for instance, like Willow, she's our black and white cat. She has got to be in here from the minute she thinks I'm starting to work. And she knows when I'm done. It's so interesting because she will get up, look at me, and then walk away, and she won't come back in this room until the next time I'm starting to work for the day. So she's so in tuned. And, we have 3 cats here, and they're all super connected. So for instance, Sadie, she's our Bengal cat.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's gorgeous. She's got these big, beautiful green eyes. Now, anytime somebody starts to get upset, worked up, excited, she will start talking and meowing in such a strange, loud, unique meow that no one can actually continue on. Like she shuts the whole place down. Like everybody stops, grounds, realizes she's putting us in our place, and then we go on. And then we have our orange cat, Daisy. She's really cool, but she's so like much of a healer. Like she'll lay on my chest if I'm starting to feel like stressed and, tension in my chest, or I've got, a knee issue, she'll like tuck right into my knee. And cats are so connected to absorbing and healing, right? Oh, yeah. And of course your puppy, your grand puppy will start to yap and bark as soon as he, right?
Dougie, that's right.
Dougie, yeah. Dougie, as soon as the energy starts to go crazy, because today is an exciting show. We're going to be talking about our spiritual experiences, right? Like, how do we get here? How does it work? What are some of the most, memorable experiences?
Right. And I think most people have a genuine fear. I don't want to see. I don't want to connect. I want to connect, but I don't want to connect. That's the kind of agenda, right? Because there's so much unknown around, could it be bad, or, it's going to be too painful or whatever. And then there you have the folks who just can't wait. Like bring it on. I want to see you. As soon as, you've made it to the other side, show me, give me a sign. I need to know that you're okay. So what would be one of your fun stories, Amber?
Oh boy. Well, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, and it was probably one of the first spiritual connections that I had with my husband's side of the family. And he's so supportive. Like, he's such a good sport, because he really didn't know that I was a psychic medium until we were engaged.
Oh, no way. You kept that hidden all the time.
So this, in my defense, because I really don't have one, but in my defense, the first day we went on a date, I said to him, I am different. I am capable of more than what you see here today. And so, a year in and we're getting engaged, we were headed over to his mom's house for, it must have been Thanksgiving dinner. And we're getting ready. And of course, like, family is super important to both my husband and I. Family and friends who are family to us, like very important.
Same thing,
so
right?
We don't miss family functions. So imagine when I look at my husband to be and say, I'm not going to your mom's today on Thanksgiving. So he kind of just looks at me and he's like, you're being ridiculous. Like, what are you talking about? And he says, of course we're going. Like, we're leaving now. And I said, well, I can't go. I said, you can go. I can't go. And so he's just trying to figure out what's happening. And then I just finally came out with it and said, your grandmother's here. And he said, no, she's not coming to this one, because she's like, my mom's parents aren't coming to this one tonight, right? I said, no, not that one. Your father's mother.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that must have been a jaw dropper for you.
Yeah, because I just got teleported right back to that moment, and I got that whole feeling all over again. So he's just looking at me and he's like, she's passed away. And I said, yeah, like, this is my point, like, I said, okay. I said, here it is. I said, here, this is what she's showing me for food. This is what she's saying that should be presented today. Here's where she grew up. Here's where she was born. Here's all this stuff. And by the way, happy birthday, because, blah, blah, blah. And so I ramble off all of this stuff, and I could see her standing beside him, and she's going like this to me, because now all of a sudden you see my husband's face just going red. And I still remember him looking up, and he just dropped his sock because he was trying to put on his socks. And he's like, that's not funny, because that was her birthday, and this is what she would make. And he said, like, how are you seeing her? What do you mean? What's going on? And I was like, no, I can't go anywhere. At this point, I'm just like, this is overwhelming. It's been too much for you. It's too much for me. And by the way, I'm a psychic medium, and I can connect to people that have departed. And, this is just me. And he just looked at me and he said, and how in the hell have I not known this whole time? And I just think to myself, and I was like, because this is what I was trying to avoid. I was trying to avoid having this whole conversation, because it's no different than being a female. It's no different than breathing the air. It's no different than having, brown hair. Yeah. This is just me. So he said, I always thought you were pretty insightful. Like, you always have good advice. And I said, yeah, well, that's how it comes out. I don't necessarily start with, oh, your, grandmother's here and she's saying this. I just basically, listen and speak. And so anyways, I'm laughing because he's so amazing and supportive, but it's still, to this day, like, we're talking, 10 years in, it's still will creep him out sometimes. And he says to me, like, I will say things before he says them, or I'll, say, hey, watch out for this today. And then it happens. And so the going joke is, get out of my head, witch, because and I'm like, I'm not a mind reader, buddy. Like I'm not a mind reader, so get your facts straight. That's not what I'm doing here. So anyway, that was kind of a long story. But what about you, Liz? Like, what was your experience?
Well, that was awesome, Amber. I have to, the fact that you didn't tell him for a year,
Wasn't even like
I can't.
on purpose, but like, how do you tell the man of your dreams? Like, oh, by the way, thanks for dinner, and I speak to the dead. Like, you can't just like drop that in conversation.
Yeah, you can, because I did. I did do that.
Well, I couldn't.
A couple of, gentlemen prior to dating my husband, and when I told them that, it creeped them right out. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Thank you for showing up that way. If it doesn't work for you now, it's never going to work for you, and that's good. I'm cool with that. So I made very clear when I did meet my partner, that my husband now, that it was on the table, like in the first meeting, like, just so we're clear, this is what I do, and if it's a problem, go get somebody else a drink.
Yeah.
And
I love that you were just like, black and white, here it goes, right?
Right. He didn't pressure on it. He didn't question it. And I felt absolutely obligated, because he told me that he was religious on some level. Like he's not like a staunch religious guy, but he believes, like, we got on the topic of religion somehow. And I was like, okay, this could be a huge deal breaker, because as you know, some religions really frown upon
Yeah.
you. So yeah, it was like full disclosure right from the beginning. So yeah, that's so funny that you were able to keep that a secret for a year.
Well, you know what? I had to make 2 notifications in a short period of time, because I then had to call my ex-husband and tell him the same thing and say, this is going to be public soon, so I need you to be aware. And he kind of just chuckled and said, yeah, like, I always kind of figured that, like, it was like not a big thing. But I said, okay, just, heads up, this is going to be coming out soon. So I had 2 big kind of discussions in a short period of time.
A closet, so to speak, right? Like, we have to take ownership of ourselves and all that. So that's a whole other story.
Oh yeah.
Show, Amber, whole other show.
Yes, absolutely. But you know what? I think it's funny, because that's the time that stands out in my mind. And that was not my first psychic experience, but that was the one that kind of defined, I have a partner in life that's supportive of me and supportive of the fact that this is all of me and I'm not going to live any other way. So, he was really good about it. But I mean, I did say to him, I said, I did tell you on our first date that I was capable of more. And I did, joke a lot of times, like, oh, I know, because I'm psychic. Yeah. I said, well, it's not really, I really didn't keep it from you. You just didn't really believe me. Now you do.
You got no choice but to believe me.
Yeah. So, I would love to hear from our viewers if you guys have a story of something that you've experienced with spiritual souls or connections or apparitions, whatever. Let us know in the comments. And also, or I'm interested to know, and I don't know about you, Liz, but how do you guys connect psychically? Like, do you see them? Like I was explaining seeing grandma there. Do you hear it? Do you feel it? Do you smell something? Like, what's going on that you guys are aware of this? Because, right, Liz, like, you get it different ways. I get it different ways. But what's your primary way of connecting to spirit energy?
Well, yeah, that's a great question to put out to everybody. But for me, I would say it's clairvoyant. I'm totally tuned in that way. But I didn't share a story, and I'm just going to share a real quick fun one.
Yes, please.
Right? And it actually involves my granddaughter, because she was the most profound aha one. Actually, you know what? Okay, yeah, I'll share that one. So she was about 2.5, 3 years old at the time, and she every time she would play off on her own, I knew she was hanging out with somebody, but I never knew who it was. And that was really frustrating to me, Amber, because that's what I do for a living, right?
Yeah.
I knew there was somebody in there hanging out with her, and she'd have a conversation and she'd be chatting away. But I never felt negative about it. I just felt it was like, oh, she's got some loved ones hanging out with her. I don't know who it is. I'd ask. I didn't get any response. I didn't know. So over a short period of time, like maybe a few months, and as you know, children of that age, they start to get a better vocabulary and their words start to get better. So it started out with, I play with Poppy. I play with Poppy. And it was like, okay, who's this Poppy? Like, okay, I'm automatically defaulting by ego that it's a girl that she's playing with. And then over a couple of more days or weeks, she starts to add to that series of really cool, evidential stuff. And she starts to say, Poppy all wet, Emma. I don't know why Poppy all wet. And then she would say, why Poppy leave shoe in the water, Emma? Why Poppy leave shoe? And then it finally dawned on me over a space of time. I finally was in this heightened awareness that she wasn't saying Poppy, ever. She was saying Bobby. And that was my brother's name. And my brother had drowned. So the fact that she saw him all wet.
Yes.
The only thing I couldn't confirm was the shoe in the water situation. It didn't make any sense to me, but he did drown while he was out, with the Girls and Boys Club in Niagara. So I'm thinking, who would know this? My mother. So I called my mother and I said, listen, when you got all the stuff back when Bobby died that day, did you get everything back? Like all his clothes, everything? I didn't give her a clue about the shoes. I thought she would know. She goes, yeah, I got it. And she goes, no, wait a minute. We got everything but one of his shoes. And I was like, okay. So clearly that, like, I needed more confirmation, obviously, like I needed more confirmation, but I didn't. But It was like, that was such a cool experience. And now, my brother since that has become more prevalent in my life. Before that, I didn't really have that strong spirit connection with him. And yet, he was the first person I knew that died. Well, actually, that's not true. My grandfather did. But it was the first important person.
Yes.
Super important person to me. I was not really connected to my grandfather as much. But the idea that, that could happen in that way, that I had not recognized my own brother's energy, was kind of like, okay, so now I let him in and now I have constant conversation with him. So it's great.
Do you know about that though? Because that's such a beautiful story, and thanks for sharing it with us, because, it's interesting to point out that you're not always going to be aware of who it is that's around you. Just because you can connect to spirit does not mean that all of them will want you to know that they're there or why they're there. Like it's just like human experience. You don't get to know everything about the human experience, and you don't get to know everything about the soul experience. So when people are there and they want you to know that they're there, they'll make it evident that they are by doing some of these signs and things. But what I was going to say was how different souls will come through for different people. So I have done readings for families who come, a family will come because there's a loss of one person they share in common. And to all, say 5 or 6 of those family members, that one soul comes through differently 5 or 6 times. So it's not necessarily that you don't know that it's the same person. It's that each person shared such a different bond with that one particular person. So even if you say all the siblings lost their father, well, not all of the siblings had the same relationship with the father or felt the same way for him. So they would have that difference in energy. So it is interesting that Bobby made himself known to your granddaughter and felt different to you because he was in that different connection with her than he would have been to let you know he was coming through for you, as well as you were open to helping her figure it out because there wasn't a block in knowing it was him from the beginning, right?
That's right. Exactly. So true. So, and then another cool one that would be a psychic experience for me, that's a cool story, was I had a colleague at work, and I saw her every day, as you do at work. And one day I had said to her, are you pregnant? Because I saw her carrying a baby. and like in my third eye imagery. And she's like, well, how could you possibly know that? Like, she was kind of like, whoa, how do you even know that? We haven't told anybody. And I'm like, no, I actually, like, I see you carrying a baby. That's why I had to ask you. And you just look different, right? You know, pregnant girls just look different, right? You can see that energy on them. And so then I said, she goes, well, we're actually not due. And I said, don't tell me. You're due on this date. And actually it's going to be on this exact date. And it's going to be around this time. It's going to be a girl. And I think I even picked a name. I can't even remember if that was the case, but I've done that for many people. I nailed it to the day and the time, which was so cool, right? Because when you're giving that information, like, it was unsolicited.
Yeah.
First place. It was just like, she was like, I wanted to know if I was having a girl so bad. She goes, I would have been happy with either, but I wanted to know if I was having a girl. And I'm so excited. You know, we got my millionaire family. She'd already had a boy. So it was like that moment. So whoever decided that she needed to know that came through to me in that very moment and gave her that insight. And I just thought that was so cool, because those events happen very often.
Yes.
You know, where you can predict an event, you can predict, you know, series of events in some cases, which, you know, are so fun, right? They're fun. I love those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's so cool. I think in terms of, you know, the awareness that I get is more like claircognizant, because it just comes as thought. So, you know, at the beginning it was visual. I would get those kind of, you know, thoughts afterwards, but the visual part of seeing the energy or seeing somebody's aura was there. But over time, I kind of just said, you know, this is a little bit more than I need. So I just, you know, just let me, just let me know that you're there so that I can then get the information. But you know, what's, you know, really interesting is that honoring your spiritual connection, it doesn't have to be like, one of the things that I do, which is, you know, being able to communicate with people that have crossed over. That's not what I necessarily use my psychic abilities or my intuition for. Like, that's not really what it is. You know, I think the purpose is to help us be aware of who we are, to help us get, you know, through this life experience. And so I struggled a long time with, you know, is this something I should be tapping into? Is this something that we should be experiencing? And, you know, going through the work and stuff, what I've realized is you have to be able to be in body, mind, and soul, and to be able to use those things to help yourself and navigate. Like, I mean, I don't think, oh, I'm terrified to go down this dark alley at night. I don't ignore that. I don't go down the dark alley at night. I listen to my instincts and I don't go that way. Hearing and feeling those things are the same things as receiving spiritual guidance. Yeah. It's just listening. So, you know, it could be, don't go down this road, or don't turn here, or don't do that. So for me, having to come to an acceptance of using and tapping into that part of myself was very important, because I was resisting the soul aspect of my life. And that's not you have to acknowledge. Oops.
Oh, yeah, you had a little bit of a loss of voice there, Amber. Can you repeat that?
That was interesting. Everything just kind of, I got all these alarms that just popped up here.
It's because we're hanging out with Spirit today. We're talking about him.
Yeah.
An appearance, of course.
I think, you know, in terms of just my point of being really okay with being connecting, you know, like I use my brain for things, I use my body to do things, and I also will use my soul to do things as well. And to be able to have that unified collective experience is a higher awareness and an awakening that I hope many people are able to experience. But you definitely have to be in that acceptance level that this is happening. But in terms of spiritual experiences, not even mediumship wise, which is, talking to departed souls, one of the biggest spiritual experiences that I can, remember was having this outer body experience and seeing myself as a soul with energy
Oh, wow.
and the color around it, and being able to kind of visualize. So when we talk about a spiritual experience, we're also talking about meditation and mindfulness, because meditation is opening up that awareness to that consciousness to receive information or to clear and to control how the mind is affecting the body. And the only way you're able to do that is when you're in touch with your soul. And that's, I think, part of the difficulty of people having that meditative experience is, there's that fear of allowing yourself to connect to all of those parts and worry about that. So, but yeah, the biggest spiritual experience in terms of just energetic soul information was to be able to view myself from the outside, see the colors and see where things were blocked, and to see where the energy wasn't flowing properly, and to really kind of see things in terms of what my purpose was and where I was going. I could really see it as color. It was all color.
Wow.
And, the more that it felt warm, the more I was navigating towards that was the path I was going to. The more I felt anxious or cold or kind of put off, the less I was likely to go there.
Right.
And, just in that moment, I had this awareness of not every soul will be the soul you're supposed to connect with here. And what you're doing with your life will connect to certain people on that same awareness level. And you do not have to be involved with what other people are doing. Like, you don't all, like, yes, we're all humans, but all of us will have very different ways of doing things. And the higher vibration that you are and the more in touch you are with yourself, the more grounded you become, and you realize that. And I think that to me is the most important spiritual experience I've ever had.
Huge. That's huge and beautiful.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
like, but it's so true. Um, until we have that full embodied experience, connecting the body, the mind, and the soul. I don't, well, I can recall it was a long process for me. It wasn't like a one and done kind of thing. Just that whole recognizing, well, actually from a child, I recognized that I was different, that my soul was reaching out to me. I can remember staring in the mirror as a young girl and going, why do you look like that? Who are you? Like, did you ever do anything strange like that, Amber?
Yeah,
Like,
it was sometimes it was like
why do you
very weird.
look like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this shell doesn't connect with what I'm seeing or feeling inside the soul or whatever. So I can remember having those profound, ahas. And then as I grew older and had more and more experiences, and I think it's so funny that I shared, because I was just thinking about it while you were talking, that I shared an experience that my granddaughter had and not that I had. And I think it's so funny because, all of the experiences that I've had over the years, and there's tens of thousands of them, they aren't as important to me as that one was for me. It was like, as silly as it sounds, that was huge confirmation for me, right?
Yeah.
That one was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, my brother's connecting. This is so cool. And, until you have that, like, sort of bell go off that, yeah, you've been doing this. You've been doing this for other people for so long, and sort of taking a blasé approach about it too, like not really connecting. Obviously I was doing it out of love and connectivity. I wanted to support and help other souls, but not taking it in such a like, wow, this is so cool. Just like, this is what I do. Like you said, breathing. So to have that experience with my granddaughter, that was probably the most moment, just such a cool thing. But yeah, no, I know. Great experiences that we've had over the years.
But
Truly.
and they're our own. I mean, everybody's going to have a very unique experience in terms of, it could be that, yeah, that aha, that awakening, that outer body experience, that whatever it is, whether you're using the term spiritual or soul or whatever, you know, like you're still going to have something where you come to this moment that brings you to a defining point that you either go right, left, or stay where you are. And, you know, the hope is that our souls are kind of getting that momentum to move forward, because we are supposed to be, you know, really becoming closer to love, which is the biggest light energy experience that we can have. So the more love and gratitude that you express, the more light and energy and vibration, and the more that magnetizes to you in a positive way. And the people that are negative, or that, you know, are doing things in terms of trying to, I don't know what it is. It doesn't even matter. Like it doesn't, I don't even have words for it, because it doesn't matter. And, you know, that was the other thing I noticed too, is like, when you were talking about, you know, seeing yourself differently as a child, like one of the things I never got was how big of a deal something was, or like I never took to heart when things were a big deal. Like I always used to say, I don't get why everybody's standing outside for concert tickets for like 24 hours in the freezing cold snow to like, or, you know, like whatever it is. Like, I don't understand why somebody's so upset if someone else has a different opinion that doesn't match yours. Like, I don't understand those things, because I wasn't seeing them from this is wrong or this is right. I was seeing it for that was just their choice or their experience. So I never took them like to the point where it was like an emotional connection. So I think that to me, I always was curious about that, about my soul, because I never really connected in such a way. And I always felt like I could see someone else's perspective. And sometimes I lacked that in a moment, but it was never like seeing someone else's. It was more like almost not being able to see the options in my own choices. And then coming out of it later than you can, and you forgive yourself, or you make amends, or you do whatever and you move on. But that, I think, was my biggest thing, is like seeing myself from an emotional perspective in the soul. It was separate to me.
I love that you brought that up, how you you may not see it in the moment, but when you have a reflection moment, and usually the reflections are spirit trying to remind you, now you're ready, you can actually see the different side of this. And I was telling you earlier, I had a really profound dream the other night, and it was about my ex-husband. And now I haven't seen him in 28 years. So it's been a long time, right? So for me to be dreaming about him, I'm like, so it was actually his aunt and uncle that came through, and they were like, you really have to see it from a different perspective. Now they're still living. So that was a weird dream, right? And I don't like, I'm assuming they're still living. Yeah, they maybe not, I don't know. But it was as if they were just kind of giving me this advice to see it from a different perspective. Now, my ex-husband had been estranged from my daughter from the time like she was about a year old. He had had no interest in being connected to her, lived in Scotland. So it wasn't like I could call him up and say, hey, come and see your daughter. So it was like really weird. And then about 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, my daughter found him on Facebook and started to reach out to him. And now they've got like a connection on Facebook, and that's pretty much it as far as I know. But coming back to my dream, the anger and resentment that I carried for that man, for the abandonment, I never I had thought I had kind of worked through that, because he wasn't a part of my daughter's life, didn't support us in any way financially or whatever, for her entire life so far. And I kind of had accepted that, and kind of felt sort of blessed that I didn't have to share him. I didn't have to share him with her, or share her with him, I should say. It was actually a blessing for me. You know, that's the only way I could look at it at the time. And so, like you, I didn't really see the point in hanging on to anger, resentment, and all of that kind of stuff. But there's always a level of that, I think, until your soul kind of gets to that higher awareness on a situation. So why am I sharing this story? In that dream, they basically showed me how his perspective, his way of seeing things at the time, and why he was where he was at. And not to get into a long story on it, but I woke up from that dream going, oh, that's new. I never thought of it from that perspective. Now, I recognized things that a series of events that had happened when we were together that kind of alluded and made it into a nice package where I could go, oh, he wasn't he wasn't coming. Oh, hello. Everybody's joining us today. Look at the eyes. This is your kitty that was we were talking about earlier.
This is Sadie, the Bengal cat. And of course, like I told you, as soon as it gets heightened, here she comes. So now if she's feeling emotions,
Right. Yeah.
she'll actually start to go meowing.
Yeah. So yeah, because it was an emotional time for me when that situation took place, because I did feel the abandonment of that, right?
Yes.
But the dream highlighted a higher awareness on stuff I never saw. And it was just, I woke up just going, wow, well, that explains a lot gaps that I didn't fill in yet.
Yes.
Not that I needed to fill those gaps in, but I clearly did, for Spirit to bring that through to me. Thank you, Sadie, for joining us today.
Yes.
Look at how pretty she is. We're good now, honey. We're not stressed or anything.
Oh my gosh. But that's part of it. And that's why I'm so okay now with embracing that whole part of ourselves, because you do get those moments where you can see if it's in a dream for you, or if it's in a friend calling you saying, hey, check yourself, whatever. Like, it could be in any which way. You could open the newspaper and the whole article is exactly the same situation you're dealing with, but now you can see it laid out like that. So, being in tuned to those things and being open to the idea that there are more than one perspectives. Like there are, like, people that have conflict in relationships, there's more than one side, there's more than one perspective, and there's more than one understanding and awareness level. And so that's why I kind of laughed, and I was saying, someone told me years ago, before you ever buy a house or move into somewhere, knock on the neighbors' doors and find out if the neighbors are good, or ask the homeowner if the neighbors are good. And I remember seeing, because I think I was about 20 something when I bought my first home. Yeah. And like, it matters. Like, I'm sitting here doing the math, right? Like, who cares? That's not the point of the story anymore. Anyways, we bought our first home, and I remember saying, why would I do that? Like, one, the first impression that my neighbors will have is that I care about if they're good neighbors or not. Yes, okay, that's important, but sometimes it's not that important. So no, I'm not doing that. And two, what if it was the homeowners that I'm buying from that were the ones that were seeing things differently or had conflict, and the other ones weren't? So how do I know? Because it wasn't my experience. So I learned that quite quickly, that unless you were there and you were in experience of it, you really do not have an idea of where the conflict resides, or if there's conflict, or just different ideas. Like, people can have different opinions and perspectives without having to have a problem. That's the deal of it. Like, every one of us are here to teach other people parts of lessons, or to be taught something. And if you're open to learning it and receiving it, then it's great. Like, I mean, of course, I can remember being a teenage girl thinking, oh my God, Mom, I know I have to button up my coat. Like, come on. Like, at this point, at this age, I'm like, okay, I was just being difficult because I didn't want to do up my coat. Like, it wasn't that my mom was wrong for saying it. It was that I just didn't want to do it. So it was the wrong outcome. They weren't matching. Like, what I wanted and what she was trying to protect me from were not the same thing. It doesn't mean that was bad. So just having those, the spiritual experiences help you. And the other part is, the more your awareness level rises, the more that you can use the things that are happening around you to, so say if you're experiencing something in your personal life, and then you do go to work, and then your coworker needs advice with something, and now you have it all, like all this enlightenment's coming out, and then you're thinking, wait a second, I just had this conversation with so and so last night, so I hear you, thank you. Like, it's so much different because the universe will put you into different roles so you get those different perspectives, and then it's like you're hearing yourself speaking, but then, you know, last night you didn't, and now you can, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I just wanted to point out today that there's so much more to spiritual experiences than just, you know, seeing something or hearing something. There, it's just so much deeper.
Have any of our viewers or listeners added anything? Any of their cool stories?
A minute ago. Let me see.
It's always fun to hear what others have to share.
I haven't. There's some people watching, but I haven't seen any comments. I can't see any. So if you did comment,
yeah, if you have a cool story to share, go ahead. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Sorry, I'm switching up here, people, to different.
Not at all. Don't be sorry. So, you know, I love the idea.
Sorry, I do. Sorry. Okay. Enrica from Aurora, Ontario says hello. Hello.
Hello.
I said that right. Your name. April. Hi, April. I was just thinking about you. Tammy. Hi. Hello. Enrica. Oh, I love your what are those the emoji that's your person?
Oh, the person. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful one. And Tammy's sending hugs. I don't think I've got any. Okay, again, people, I'm trying my best here, but I'm on this phone, and sometimes my phone and I don't match up. So if you did make a comment outside of who I mentioned, thank you for messaging us, you guys. And, you know, I'm just happy you guys were able to join us and hear our perspectives. Liz and I offer this insider show because we often get asked common questions about, you know, our experiences, but also it's like a fly on the wall between conversations between, you know, people that have had these experiences. So, you know, but we love to hear about your experiences so that we can help you either make sense of it or just to share it, because it's so much nicer when you can share something with someone who, like I said to Liz at the beginning, you get me, you get it, you understand. So sometimes it's nice to be able to share that with people.
Exactly. Who get you.
Yes.
You.
Yeah.
Let's face it, anybody watching this show is in tune on some level.
Yes.
You know, you're not attracted to this show because you're not, right? You're obviously in tune and your soul's on a journey. So, you know, this is part of the journey.
That's
and
right.
Albeit a probably minuscule part, it's still a part of the journey. And, you know, it's when we can release and let go and share, you know, experiences and recognize the commonality, the bond of commonality that we all have with each other, especially, you know, those of us who are climbing the ladder spiritually. It just makes life so much. I mean, I can remember being a lone wolf and not having anybody to connect with. And as much as I thought I was okay, I can say now, yeah, no, I am so much better and connected now that I have others that I can, you know, share and, you know, like yourself, Amber, where we can have these conversations and, you know, get clarity on, you know, the different aspects or higher awareness, the different conversations we have on that, which are so fun, right?
And, you know, and that's why, like, for me, I'm compelled and inspired to help people connect to that. And so, you know, I have my membership community, Clarity Academy, where we do lessons every week. And we have this, you know, membership platform with like-minded people. And, you know, we're doing book club and all these things that are ramping up and going. And the community of people are so beautiful because they are the people that are connecting. And, you know, it's not the be all and end all. So say there's something that we've said or done or learned, and it takes them to the next step or the next person or the next connection. And Liz, you have your good vibe tribe too, which is very similar. And you're teaching a lot about, you know, spiritual connections and psychic abilities and things like that as well in your community.
That's right. Same as you. And, you know, give a little bit more clarity on your Clarity Academy. What is it somebody coming in would expect to get from that, Amber?
So it's a gated community online. So every week you would get access to a new lesson. So I've chunked it up into sections. So the first section will be intuition or psychic development. So more of an awareness of the archetypes and chakras and what the soul and the aura and how all of it kind of works in my experience and other people's experiences. And then I have mindfulness, where we really get into understanding to listen to your body, be still in the moment, and having the ability to use mindfulness to connect to the body, mind, and soul, which overall helps you with so many things. I struggled with migraines for my whole entire life, and by practicing mindfulness, whether it's that taking a deep breath, or whether it's going for a walk and only trying to listen to the birds chirping, or sitting and focusing or visualizing, I only get a migraine now maybe once every month or two, significantly better. So that was my drive for that. And then of course, purpose. So helping the Clarity Academy members really align to their purpose. And through that mindfulness, intuition development, and purpose, you get what is called your authentic self. And so that's where I am at, like I alluded to before, is really using all of it, body, mind, and soul, to connect, to get to that space where you're just like, learning more about who you are and what that means to love, to relationships, to coworkers, to children, parenting, all of that stuff, to get you to feel fulfilled. But these people that are in this membership community, they're here to show up and to do the work. And I think that's really the important part. Are you open? Are you ready? Are you willing to be a different version of awareness? Like, can you see that different version of awareness?
That's so great.
So I kind of got it into those three sections, and of course it's growing. So you join once, it's good for a lifetime, and we just keep growing. And of course every week, unless there's something that's popped up, or holidays, we do a Facebook Live, and it's coaching, soul coaching from me. We talk about a topic in that point, and there's exercises and worksheets and all of this stuff that you're able to take care of. And you know what else I love about it? I've already done all of the research and work of who the reliable sources of resources are. So you don't have to worry, like, okay, if you're looking to follow certain spiritual people or certain coaches or certain, mindfulness, I've already done that in years of doing it. So it's all there, all the resources, everything's there. It's just, I wanted other people to feel like there was a spot to go, to grow, and to be supported, and not be lost in the dark like I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you for the Good Vibe Tribe, which I love the name? I love it.
Kind of similar, but it's more specialized on honing in on your instinct, on your psychic and mediumship abilities. So that's where I'm like staying focused on that. It's so fun. Great group that are on the membership already, and we have all the lessons are, not only in writing, but they're also, we do discuss the lessons in video, which are all up on the, it's like you, a gated community through Facebook. And, the cool thing is now with my group, Amber, they are now on to actually reading real people.
That's amazing.
Which is so cool. And I'm getting so many amazing compliments on, on how good they are. And, it's just fun. It's fun. It's fun to see people, take in the awareness and then trust it and then run with it and just feel good. And not everybody that is in the Good Vibe Tribe is wanting to, do this for a living. That's not at all what it's about. Mm-hmm. And it's a good reminder to those of you, wanting to tune in. It's not about doing this for a living. Amber and I took that leap of faith because we were drawn to do that. But you may just use it, which is what it's for, is to enhance and enlighten your own life, to bring clarity and stability to your own life, having the higher awareness. Mm-hmm. So it will benefit you no matter what you do for a living, having intuition, having that strong psychic awareness. And so, yeah, so basically that's kind of what the good vibes all about. And we have fun. We have fun. We meet up weekly like you, coaching sessions, that kind of stuff. And it's fun. It's a fun group like yours, I'm sure is, Amber, right?
Yeah, you know, I just value them so much because again, you're so drawn to certain people, and when the universe aligns to have people connect with you, they're not just a number. They're not just somebody that, you know, purchased this program or is involved in this membership community or whatever. I really truly feel like I'm learning from them, and that if I can give them anything in return, and that's what they're looking for, there's just such a 360 learning, spiritual learning, and just such gratitude all the time for them. They're just beautiful and connected, and you know, and I love that they're trusting me with their spiritual journey, you know. But you know, I have something that's fun just so we can close out this. So if you're watching today, I have this little challenge for you. So we're talking about spiritual experiences, and Liz was sharing about the intuition development and stuff. So if you're watching, post in the comments which stone you think I'm going to work with today. And then at 4 o'clock, let's say in an hour, 3:30, 4 o'clock ish, I'll post and tell you which one I actually picked. So use your intuition. So this is citrine. Can you see that, Liz?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Okay. Pull it back a little bit next time. There you go. That's clearer.
Okay. And this one is just gorgeous. And I can't remember what it is, but it's pink and marbles.
Wow.
That one?
That is stunning.
Right? Like of course, this is like my favorite color besides black is this pink.
Oh yeah.
And then there's this one. Now this one has sparkles. Can you see the sparkles?
Oh yeah, stunning.
So my son got me this one for Christmas a couple years ago.
Oh wow, that's a beauty.
Look at the shimmer.
That is stunning.
So I don't know what that one's called either, but at the beginning when we started chatting, I was like, I'm going to grab these three and I'm going to have our viewers out there use their intuition to see which one I'm going to work with today for my meditation later. So you can say the yellow, which is the citrine, the gold shimmer, or the pink stone. So you can just put it in the comments and then I will let you know which one I chose, and you can see how your intuition helped you get the answer.
I love it. I love it. I love playing those games. We do that on the Good Vibe Tribe a lot. We play those games, and that's
I know it's not like there's no pressure. It's like, who cares? Yeah. Ultimately, you know, I'm going to use a healing stone today. So it's just like, what are you thinking that makes you like connect to it? So for instance, if someone asked me to do this, and for instance, I saw, you know, my pink shirt, I would know that my pink shirt meant the pink stone. Or if I saw a ring, I would know it's the gold sparkly one. And if I heard my name Amber, I would go with the goldy yellow one. So just kind of take a deep breath, don't stress, see what comes to mind, and then what you associated with and which one it connects to for you.
Right.
And we'll post
it. With the first one, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Just let it happen.
Just let it go. And it's fun. Just keep practicing. So it was amazing to talk to you today, Liz. And thank you everyone for connecting, and all of you who were tuned in today. Thank you so much.
And happy Easter, everybody, for the next weekend.
Yes. Enjoy spring. Be grateful for it, and have, you know, find something to be grateful for, especially over the next couple days. Challenge yourself to pick something to be grateful for, because guess what? I'll give you a quick little tip. The more gratitude that you show and express, the more information and higher vibration you will receive.
Love it.
All right, everybody. Until next time, see you next week.
Bye, everyone.